Hey everybody, it's Melodite fan here back again, and we're doing more ranked stuff with Melodite. We got another episode for you today, and today we're going to talk about something that me and him basically can't live without, and it's music.
Yep.
Particularly, we're going to talk about our favorite bands, but just before we get into that, just want to mention that like I love music. Like I listen to it pretty much every day. Like most of the time when I'm walking down the street or something, I always have just a pair of earbuds in listening to whatever is playing. It doesn't matter what it is. I love a little bit of everything. So
I relate to that on a really good skill because if I didn't go to school or even in my day-to-day life now as an adult, if I don't have earbuds in my ears, I go crazy.
yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me because I wear them so much. Like I wear them when I go to bed. That's how much I love fucking music.
Me
I
too.
will sleep with them on, and every minute they're not on, I get angry. So even today, like I walked for like an hour and a half or so just to get home, and the whole time I had my brand new wireless earbuds in, listening to music the whole way through.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
Yeah, it
It's
was
so
actually,
therapeutic.
it was just actually, it was actually kind of relaxing. But I mean, my feet were sore when I got home. But man, like that playlist I had was pretty good. So okay, so if you're not familiar with how this works, we're going to go through our three just one at a time. Or by that, I mean, he'll go with his three and I'll talk about my three. And we'll just, you know, we'll just do that and we'll, we'll, we'll make it work
Yeah.
somehow.
So I think I just wanted to personally explain like where I got this idea from. Um, So, given that New Year's Eve is coming up here in a few days, we're all going to kind of be locked down in our houses, unfortunately. And, there's no concerts or anything like that going on in the world yet. There might be a few house parties and whatever, but there's no tours of big bands. And so I kind of figured, hey, you know what? Like, let's kind of reminisce about some bands that we really enjoy listening to that kind of get us through, either the rough days or our happy bands, our happy songs, and whatever. So, anyway, like Xavier said, I'll go with my first three here. So, in third place, I've actually been listening to them a lot as of recently, mainly because I'm just going through some things right now, and I find their music really helps me. Is Pink Floyd.
Ah, yes.
Um, they formed in the mid 1960s, and they gained some relatively good infamy in the uh, mid 70s or so. And then they basically reached their popularity after they released the album The Wall in 1979.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's seen them live twice. However, he's seen them after they split. So he didn't see the original bass guitarist, Roger Waters. He only saw David Gilmour. Um, but yeah, no, Pink Floyd really helps me get through my days sometimes. And, it's not just something that kind of came out of nowhere. I've always known of Pink Floyd's music. I live with parents that don't really listen to modern music, so they really don't like hip hop and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
same here.
when me and my dad would go up to my grandparents' place just outside of our city here, he would play me like stuff like Def Leppard, Van Halen, um, and my dad's seen some really really awesome bands, such as the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He saw them in a downtown bar in downtown Vancouver.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no. I I always mean to ask, like what they were possibly like, and he doesn't really say too much. He's like, oh, whatever, their music. I didn't really think they're going to be that big. He saw Metallica and Van Halen, and he says
Pretty
that's
rad.
probably the loudest concert he's ever been to.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, right. Especially with the likes of Van Halen, because my dad says at that time Metallica was just kind of starting out, so they were really kick ass.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah, my dad, I get most of my influence from my dad when it comes to rock. My favorite song from Pink Floyd would have to be "Run Like Hell."
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's from the album. It's from the album The Wall, and it's kind of like their take on like what Crystal Knocked would be. So Night of the Crystal Glass. But yeah, it's just a really good song, and I really really relate to it. But yeah. So anyway, moving on to my second. Second would have to be mainly because I want to see them live before they retire. Is ACDC.
Yes.
I think it would be insane to see ACDC. However, if there was a band that if I ever had a time traveling device, I would want to go see ACDC back in their prime.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, if you can just imagine what those shows could be like. I don't know, like they're probably the most successful Australian rock band of all time. Or well, rock band of all time, might not just the fact they're Australian, but
They're definitely top tier for sure. Like,
for, how about yourself? Like, do you would you ever like take the chance to see ACDC?
oh hell yeah, I definitely do that. Like I love ACDC. Like they have like just a bunch of hit after hit after hit, and uh,
It and that's the really funny part about ACDC. Sorry for interrupting you.
mm-hmm.
That's everything they do sounds the same, but it rocks.
Yeah.
Like it's good, and
Mm-hmm.
for some reason it sounds really good. Like usually people will complain about when an artist of theirs like does the same thing, but ACDC's basically kind of been putting out the same music for 40 plus years,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody complains. It's so strange.
Yeah, no.
Um, yeah. What's your favorite song from ACDC? I meant to ask.
Um, I mean, for me, it's always been Back in Black. Like it's so hard to think of anything else when it comes ACDC in my head.
Mhm.
Uh, and I mean, it's basic, but it's still really good stuff. So, what's your
I,
favorite ACDC
well,
song?
my favorite is because I really like to watch the old YouTube. I like to watch old footage of Angus Young, the
Okay.
main guitarist of ACDC, play it.
Mm-hmm.
Let There Be Rock.
Yeah.
Ooh, that song, and then watching him do what he did in like let's say like 1976.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's insanity, man. Um, but it's really funny you say Back in Black because what's it like the Iron Man uses a lot of ACDC songs, so I think it's kind of fitting that you chose ACDC. I mean, Back in Black.
Yeah.
So and then what? And then they did. Yeah, no. I'm trying to think if they did any other songs, and I'm pretty sure like Marvel has used a lot of ACDC.
Yeah, they just had a thing for that in Iron Man, which I'm not complaining because the
Mm-hmm.
songs that they did pick out were were pretty good, and I think they actually made one for one of the movies. Um,
You might be right.
yeah, I remember when
Shoot
I
the
was
Thrill, maybe.
yeah, I think so.
No. Oh, okay.
I want to say it was that one, but yeah, I remember when I was a kid. Um, I used to have, or actually, I still do have a CD Walkman, and the year that I got it, I got the CD of like a bunch of like greatest hits from ACDC. So I'd
Oh, that's
literally just be
awesome.
walking around with these giant ass headphones, carrying this Walkman. He's just banging out to AC/DC.
It's so awesome. Oh, my dad, when I first got adopted by my dad, he had on iTunes a bunch of live AC/DC songs.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the album name is AC/DC Live. So it has like a bunch of the songs that they recorded, I believe, in the 90s, and they were remastered.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my dad would listen to that album whenever we were going on road trips. So one of my most distinct memories of listening to AC/DC is driving between Kamloops and Kelowna and rocking out to For Those About the Rock, We Salute You.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's it? Also, my dad introduced me to The Wall, Paid by Pink Floyd, on a drive into BC as well, another year. And it's, I don't know. So anyway, moving on to my first, I've seen this band live 3 times, and I will see them and see them and see them and see them until the day they drop dead, probably until the day I drop dead either. Billy Talon.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know who they are, they're a Canadian punk rock band. Well, a lot of people kind of debate me on that and say they aren't really punk rock, but I would say that like they're kind of like alternative. So I would say they're a mixture of hard and punk rock, because if you listen to their older stuff, like from the early 2000s and upwards, it has the vibes of punk rock.
Yeah.
Because a lot of their older stuff is very much like breakup songs and stuff like that. So
yeah.
So I've seen them live 3 times, and they're absolutely incredible. Like they're one of the very few bands that can actually sound good live. A lot of people debate me on that, but it's true. Like
Probably.
but it's true though. Like, you know, there's not a lot of bands out there that can sound exactly what they do on a studio album or something like that, right?
Oh yeah.
And
like,
mind you, the lead singer Ben, he's I think like 40s. Oh God, I should know this because I'm a huge fan. But like, he's in his early to mid 40s, and he doesn't scream as well, but he can still sing like he's 23. You know, it's every concert, every time I've seen them, I've never been disappointed. And my favorite song from them to finish off my list is This Suffering, probably. So yeah.
I like Billy Talon. I mean, I have a couple songs that I enjoy from them, but it's just that I don't really know enough of their actual newer. Like I haven't really paid attention to them over the years.
For sure. And if like anybody kind of growing up in Canada, like around the same era that you and I did, would have heard at least 1 or 2 Billy Talon songs. Even in Germany, actually, I played a song for my friend recently in Germany, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is on the radio like all the time." I was like, "What? Really?" He's like, "Oh yeah."
This is weird.
He's like, "Oh man, they're really popular here. Don't you know that?" I was like, "Well, I mean, yeah, in interviews I hear that they're popular, but I've never actually met anybody that from Germany that even knows who they are."
That's really weird to me. Like it just seems like out of all the places that you could think of besides Canada, that would be just a really weird place. But
Exactly.
it's interesting though. And
It's you know, and it's really funny because like if you think about it, like I was watching an interview with the lead singer and the main guitarist, and like I think the question was like, let's say like, you know, you had no following in Canada, like what would be the other countries you would go to? And they were pretty split between, but they said England and Germany. And England historically does like their rock music, you know, like take Def Leppard, Pink Floyd, Queen, the Ramones, the Sex Pistols, like you take all those bands. Sorry, I know I'm
Yeah.
forgetting a few, but like
Mhm.
you take all those bands and like it makes sense, right? Because to be honest with you, like I think Billy Talon, in my humble opinion, is probably one of the best Canadian rock bands that Canada has to offer.
Mhm.
That's my opinion. A lot of people will disagree with that and say, "Oh, look at Headley, look at but Headley wasn't like Headley had a minor boom when we were kids, and I haven't heard of them since."
Yeah, basically.
But I don't know. So, what's on your list, my good sir?
So, okay, I was thinking about this all day, and even on the walk home, I was trying to pick bands, but I couldn't come up with any. So instead, I'm gonna cheat a little bit and talk about my favorite era of music, which is undoubtedly in my mind the 80s. I love 80s music to death. Like, I mean, the 80s, a very like a very strange time in our eyes, but I still say that some of the best songs are from that decade. And I think it was just, I think I get that from my parents because, I mean, like yours, like they don't really care about, you know, newer, like, they don't like rap at all and all this other stuff. So, but my mom especially, like she loves the 80s, and I think that just kind of rubbed off on me over the years. And the more that I keep listening to music every day, it's always from like the 80s, like, and just so many like iconic
Do
songs
you
of that
ever
era.
do you ever feel that you identify more with people from the 80s?
I think so. Like, I think a little bit of me every day is just like, I'm not, it's like, it's so weird because when I see like all the modern, slang and stuff, I'm just like, it's like I don't know what the hell they're saying anymore. Like they're not speaking English anymore. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. Just want to thank Melodite, Ashton, for joining me yet again and coming up with this topic, since like I told you earlier, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do next. So, but this was a pretty good topic, and I always love talking about music, and you know when it comes to bands or songs or even like decades of music, like there's always some good stuff there. So
Yeah. Yes, sir.
anyway, be sure to check out his videos, because they're really good. Some really great stuff if you're into the conspiracy, creepypasta stuff, and even just true crime stories. Uh, some good stuff. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share all that fun stuff. Be sure to follow me on everything such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also I have a Discord server if you'd like to join. I hope you all have a great night. Thank you all so much for watching, and take care of yourselves. See ya.
Auf Wiedersehen.